Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Community Engagement Blueprint webinar. My name is Carolyn McCarty. I'm the president of Illinois PTA, and I remembered to introduce myself, which I don't always do. And I'd like to introduce Greg Hobbs, the president-elect, and your next Illinois PTA president. 15 more months, Greg, 15 more months.
Okay.
Every PTA at every level, a local unit, a council, a district, a region, a state, or even national, we all share the same mission and purposes. And I would predict that every person who makes decisions about children's education shares this mission or a mission very similar to it. Since 1897, PTA and our network of members have helped to solve some of the biggest issues that face our American children, many of which we take for granted today. Child labor laws, universal kindergarten, the national lunch program, juvenile justice system, and so many more. These were all accomplished because of from the results of the efforts of PTA members just like you at the local level, at the council, the region, state, and yes, national, and the programs that they provide for the families. Most schools have a PTA or some other parent group, be it a PTO, a friends of, or something else. They're called all kinds of things, parents for kids, etc. Illinois PTA, we applaud every parent that steps up and engages in their child's education and their school. But during the next 40 minutes, we are going to share with you the PTA difference. How the PTA network has developed tools and programs that can help schools build a stronger school community for the children whose potential is just waiting to be realized. Education achievements. PTA has been an active partner in raising the success of students by supporting public education and public schools, providing educational guides for parents, creating standards for family and community engagement, and developing programs that enhance our children's educational experience. And I want to say that again, our programs enhance our children's educational experience. And one of the ways we do that is through family guides. As we know, learning doesn't stop when our children leave the classroom. In fact, our children's academic success relies on them studying at home, getting support and encouragement from their family members, and participating in activities that help them hone their skills that they are learning in the classroom. That's why PTA has developed a parent toolkit to help families navigate all of the academic, social, and emotional milestones that our children experience. These resources were created to help parents be a partner in their school community and their schools and children's success. Through support of PTA's partners, PTA is continually developing new resources to help parents, from audio podcasts, state assessment guides, online magazines, and our new Parents' Guides to Student Success, as you see here on the screen. These provide clear, consistent expectations for what students should be learning at each grade level from kindergarten through high school. By emphasizing the partnership between school and home, the importance of a good education is passed on to our children. As you can see at the bottom of your screen here, we have a QR code. Now, everybody knows how to use a QR code. If you don't, just really quickly, you take your phone, put it in the camera mode, and you shoot a picture of that QR code. And that's going to take you directly to many of the resources that we're going to discuss tonight. Each page has a unique QR code, if it has one, that takes you to the resources we're talking about on that screen. So if you were to link directly to this QR code, it would take you to our Parents' Guides to Student Success brochures. These can be printed and shared with your families in your school and even with your teachers. Each brochure contains an overview of some of the key things your children should be learning in English literacy and math in their grade level, and it includes activities to help your child develop. These skills and activities could be used at home, they could be used in the classroom, or they could even be incorporated in PTA activities and your programs. So maybe you're doing a math night. You might want to take some of the activities out of here that are related to math at the different grade levels and incorporate them in maybe activity tables that you would be hosting at your school or online or in send home activities. But we all know that sometimes programs cost a little money to do. Most PTA programs can be done for free, but if you want to add something to it, National PTA does offer a grant program. And in fact, during COVID, National PTA distributed $1.25 million in COVID relief funds to local units, councils, and region PTAs across the country to help address food insecurities, mental health and social emotional learning and support, distant learning, and internet and device access. But it didn't stop there. This past fall, National PTA issued $120,000 in program grants to PTAs to help them bring programs such as tobacco prevention campaign to middle and high school students, the PTA Connect program, so PTAs could host family-centered conversations with high school students about social media and digital kindness, safety, and responsibility. There's also the STEM grants that are given out. One is for the family science festivals, which provides opportunities for families to come in and do science hands-on activities with their children and to help inspire children to get more involved with STEM type projects and programs, and possibly even pursue a career in STEM. There's also the Family Math Night, which is an opportunity for PTAs to co-host a math activity night at their school with the Mathnasium, which is a national educational company that will come into the school and set up the programs, and the PTA co-host. All of those offer grant opportunities. I'm not going to say everybody gets grants, but a lot of PTAs, when they enter them, do get the grants. And quite often the money that is granted is usually about $1,000 per grant, and is more than what is needed to cover one of these programs. So quite often you could host more than one of these programs with the grant money. We encourage everyone to watch for these opportunities to come available. At Illinois PTA, we always promote when grants open at the national level. You'll find them on our Facebook page. You'll find them in our weekend update. If you don't get it, make sure you find out how to get the weekend update right to your email, your inbox. We also do Member Hub e-blasts out, so make sure you're getting your emails through Member Hub. Next Thursday, Alyssa Mallow, our VP of Programs, will be hosting a webinar called All About Grants, Grant Writing Basics and Success Stories. I encourage everyone, if you haven't already signed up, to join her. This is free money, and we all know that we can do more when we have more money to work with. We have a lot of free programs, but when we have the money, it doesn't hurt, does it? Not at all. So if you're available next Thursday, please join Alyssa. It's a great opportunity to see not just the national programs, but about other programs that may be available, or how to just write a program. She's also going to share some success stories from some other PTAs around the state who have received some of those national grants. So we talked about some, there's ways for getting some money, but the other thing is our programs have had to evolve. Like all of us, these past 2 years have been a time of challenge, and hosting an event at our school was not always an option because we couldn't get into the schools. So PTAs stepped up and they stepped out. And in response to the changes in our world, many of our programs are now accessible through a variety of models in real time, at your own pace, and tech free. These programs will offer engaging educational and fun activities for all students and their families. And that's one of the things you're going to hear us say throughout these programs that we're going to present tonight, is they're for the students and their families. So we want to be engaging the students and families. They're available with or without access to technologies or to grants. Quite often, a lot of our programs could be done completely for free, maybe asking for a few minor donations or for from the home to bring in, like we did a science fun one that a week and a half ago, and it included just spaghetti, raw spaghetti, tape, and a marshmallow. And you have families that will be willing to donate things like that. So you could do a lot of these programs for free. These tools will give your PTA in your school also the freedom to design whatever type of program works for your school community, whether it's at the school or if it has to be done at home or if it can be done online. As we go through these remaining slides, many of the programs we will share have been expanded to include the options for the what I call outside the brick and mortar, where we can't be inside the school, providing options to keep the families engaged with their school and children's education, whether a program can be held in person or if it needs to be conducted remotely or strictly online. Many of the programs are flexible and offer free technical assistance, leader-to-leader learning opportunities, and drag and drop materials that were necessary for the program to be successful. PTA leaders and members are encouraged to select a PTA program and a program delivery method based on the unique needs of your school. So make sure you take into account what is working best at your school at the time that you want to be bringing the program forward. And as you can see, there's another QR code at the bottom of this screen. By scanning this code, you will be taken to the National PTA Program page and that will help you select the right model that will fit what's going on in your school at this time. And I'm going to tell you right now, so that you're not taking pictures of all these as we go along, tomorrow or maybe tonight, depends on how tired I am when this is over, we will be sending out to you all the whole slide deck from tonight. And so you will have all the QR codes so you can scan them from the slide decks. Okay. So now I'm going to turn it over to Greg so that Greg can share some of the programs. Greg, it's all yours. Greg, you need to unmute and then I'll advance your screen.
I'm unmuted. All right. So first off, we're going to look at the community involvement. And each of us, along with all Illinois PTA members, need to focus that we need to make every child's potential a reality. And to do this, we must engage and empower our families. And we are reaching out now throughout the community that you live in. There are organizations out there, they are more than eager to get involved right now. So just, start thinking out of the box and we start thinking of the other organizations out there. So the next few slides we're going to look at will provide opportunities that are provided by our PTA. And the first one we're going to look at is the family reading experience, which the National PTA provides. And a lot of people, oh, what's the reading experience do? Well, research shows that reading regularly improves memory function for children. Reading books about different people, places, and experiences is critical in developing a healthy child because you're exposing them to other cultures, diversity, and it's a great way through books to get kids to learn about that. This program is designed, when National developed it, It's designed for families of grades K through 5 students, and they use interactive learning stations, which focus on the core skills of reading, phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, comprehension, and vocabulary. So when National put this together, they were working closely with teachers too to make sure it was very productive. Um, and then at the end of the family reading experience, at the end of the event, the families will leave with much stronger relationships with the teachers who were present and helping. The parents also get a deeper understanding of ways to enhance their own family reading experiences at home. Because a lot of parents just think you take the book home, you open it, you read it with them, and walk away. Yeah, that's part of it. Then there's also the comprehension that you can work on. You can also work with your children, show them the cover of the book, ask them, what do you think this is going to be about? And make them make some suggestions of what they think the book will be about and compare it at the end. This program also offers guidance on how to host the literacy activity. And it also shows you how to improve book access and book choice. Incorporate a lens of diversity and representation and provide families with ready-to-go literacy resources. Several ideas that you can also, if you're wanting to do some sort of family reading activity, if your school's still not letting parents in for face-to-face, you could do a virtual read. And by that, a previous school I worked at, we did a virtual read and we invited the superintendent, we invited all the administrative staff, and we invited the entire school board. And we asked them to bring their favorite children's book that they read to their kids or they remember reading as an adult. And the whole morning from the start of school till lunch was filled with these adults going classroom to classroom, reading these books to the children. So that's a neat one. You could also offer an online readathon where the kids just log in online and someone's reading a book and the kids are following along. A lot are starting the book drops. If you're fortunate to get a grant from National for family reading, you could buy the books. If you're unable to get the parents into the school, go to the local community areas such as St. Louis Bread Company. You could go in there, pass out your books as the families would come from the school. It's just a place for them to gather, get their book, and leave with it. You could also host book giveaways throughout the school year and right before summer vacation. A lot of community organizations are willing to buy student books that you could possibly give out 10 books a month to students just by drawing their names out of hats. Another great idea, which I had never thought of, every teacher has a classroom library. If PTA has the funding or if you have the grants, it would be a great idea to go to those teachers and say, hey, we would like to buy 20 books for your classroom library. So that's all part of the family reading that are possible to do through the PTA are your local community organizations. Next one, the Connect for Respect. This program will provide a walkthrough. It's a step-by-step process for engaging students, parents, and educators, and they focus on the need to connect for respect. And the steps that are included in this program, they access the current school climate. You take a look at that. You engage the school community in dialogue. You could do that through PTA meetings, or you could do it through surveys online. But you get the people together to talk about it. And remember, we are advocates and we advocate for all the students. So getting those people together, you can kind of get a feel of what parents think, what's happening within the school. You can also hear from the teachers, the administration, and you can develop, after you hear, you can kind of like look at certain areas, decide, all right, what can we really make a difference in, and start focusing on an action plan for that. And then after that action plan is developed, you'll educate and empower the students, families, and the community working on that. And this, when I say respect, it is teaching respect among each other, and it also goes into the bullying effect of it. So it's a neat program, and after 2 years of COVID, we are really seeing children coming back into the classrooms. They can get very aggressive. They have no tolerance at times, and they're exploding with their peers or even with teachers. So this is a great one to look at right now. And the next slide is the science and STEM. The site we have down here will take you directly to the STEAM, the STEAM or STEM program. And we developed a book between the Illinois PTA and the PAST organization at Illinois State University, which was called Classrooms in Action. Before they disbanded, they worked with us to develop an activity book, and it's definitely simple items that you can find at home. It's already printed. It's about 28 pages. You can print it. You can print by project, or you can print the whole book, send it home. And what it is, it's activities geared for families to do at home.
And Greg,
Yeah,
this QR code does take them to the STEAM booklet.
yeah.
I changed it when I updated this to make sure we
Okay.
went to our, because we just introduced this. This is a brand new program. This is wonderful.
So thank you. I needed a drink. Yeah, this will take you right to that program. And if you would incorporate these into, a PTA night or send it home with your families, encourage them to take pictures and send them back to the PTA board so you can display, the projects the kids do. As I told you, it is the book. And when you run these off, the adults will assume the role of the facilitator during the challenge problems. The inquiry questions that you want to ask your children, it's an essential tool to guide the children. They're already written for you. So you can ask the kid the question, what do you think this will do? Or how do you think you can do it? You get their mind thinking, you're engaging them with that before they actually start the presentation. And then the goal of the question strategies is to facilitate productive struggle and pushing the kids to think deeper and persevere in their problem solving skills. And there's two activities in here. One is a day at the airplane races. They build airplanes and it teaches them different ways to do it. And then there's the grass heads, which I really love. You take a white cup, fill it with dirt, plant grass seed in it, draw some type of face on the cup, and then the kids will water the grass, and then the grass grows, and 1 inch, and then you'll have 4-inch hair at the top, and they're just really neat projects that the kids like. So those are two of the activities. Carolyn mentioned we did the spaghetti tower when we found out we didn't have the quorum. And we did this activity with adults, 25 and up. And they actually really got into it. And Carolyn, what was the top spaghetti tower measurement? Do you remember?
I think it was 52 inches, but I will say that our secretary was standing on a table trying to go taller.
So,
I do remember that. So, I mean, it was interesting. I didn't think the adults would have as much fun, but I think they probably had more fun than kids do with it. So,
so that book is out there. It's free to all of us. And I think the most costly item in there was probably the box of spaghetti. So, all right, the next slide we're going to look about is, community involvement. And this one, I want to talk about, you're going to see a lot there. The Family Share Fair, also known as the Parent Showcase. And
Greg, we lost you there for a minute. You said the family showcase and then we lost you.
am I back?
You are back.
Okay, now I have lost. Okay. All right, you can still hear? Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All of a sudden, I've got all these issues on my computer. All right, okay. So Family Share Fair, also known as the Parent Showcase. This is where you can look within, you might send out a survey with your PTA asking parents, hey, do you have a family activity or something that you like doing? You might have a musical background family. You might have a family who sings at the church. You might have people doing handbells with an organization. One time at Kreitner Elementary at our Hispanic school, we went to the local farmer whose children attended, and he brought in his vegetable wagon. He brought in apples that they have growing on the farm. And he talked about what they have to do, how they grow the apples. And then at the end, he gave every kid bites of vegetables and apples. So, it's just getting kids exposed to diversity and seeing what families do. It's also a great way to find out, hey, we got a member who's very good at designing t-shirts. Sarah knows about that. She's got a vice president who has all these skills of designing, and she's the new designer for the school shirts and the PTA and the pamphlets. it's just things bringing them in to let the children walk around, and you don't do it all in one night. You probably 5 to 10 families and tell them, hey, you'll have about half an hour to 45 minutes to share your thing. And the crowd moves through the stations, finding out, how to cook, whatever.
Greg, would this be a great opportunity to add to the end of like a PTA meeting? So come to the PTA meeting and following it, we will have a parent showcase to
You
maybe build some participation at our PTA meetings too.
Yeah, and I meant to say that we would do it before, but if you do it at the end, you get them to the meeting for sure. Because if you do it before, they might come do it all and then leave. So Carolyn had a good point. You kind of design it for after your meeting, you break out into those stations to do. Another big one is the family fitness night. You know, me being a fat person, I don't get into family fitness. But I will say, when we did this, once again at our Hispanic school, we had a family fitness night. And the gym was filled with fitness games that the kids could do. We had bowling, they had ring tosses and that. There were about 6 stations there. But what was really cool, we opened the classrooms in a certain wing, and we scooted the desk apart. Some of the classrooms hosted Gold Noodle, which is a brain break for kids. The kids could go in there with their parents. They do a Gold Noodle dance. Another, we had the Wii, and they were dancing, having the dance in the cafeteria with that. We also had rooms doing 15-minute yoga sessions for the children. Those rooms were filled. The kids really got into that, and the parents were there standing in the back. And then as it progressed, they were literally joining in with the kids on the poses and that. So it's a neat, thing. My suggestion, though, you have enough rooms so everybody's not crammed. And the rooms, just once the session was over, they repeated it again. So the families got the idea of how that worked. Family game night. You can buy a bunch of games. You can use board games that you have at the school, or you could tell the families, hey, we're having family game night after the PTA meeting, where we will supply the chips and the punch. And if you would like to participate, reserve your table and bring your game. And the families can bring in their game. And it's just where they are all at a table playing a game as a family or putting a puzzle together. That's kind of a neat one to do. Another one is a school barbecue, and that was held at the beginning of the school year. I have seen PTAs do the back to school barbecue for the incoming kindergarten parents because they're brand new. You can get that crowd. I have seen the back to school barbecue used for families that some schools do not have a great family relationship, or they know nothing of the family. They make this special invite for them to come to the back to school barbecue. And all it is hot dogs and hamburgers. I have also seen where the PTA will hold it school wide, and they will ask for reservations. And they'll ask the family to send in how many will be attending. And they take that count and they host a barbecue where they grill hot dogs, have hamburgers, and it's a big spread. And I will say, when we did when when we did this at Kreitner, it was school wide, and our PTA leaders had people go out and ask for contributions. It cost the PTA nothing. We got a meat company to donate all the hot dogs, and Walmart donated all the hamburger patties. Uh, the bread store donated all the buns. It cost nothing, and we fed close to 500 people that night. The hardest thing was finding the dads or ladies to do the barbecuing.
I want to point out something Greg just said is this is a great opportunity if you're trying to get men more involved with your PTA, is to put out a, hey, we need our barbecue masters to come in and help out. It is a great opportunity to get the men in your families more involved, standing there flipping burgers or, rolling hot dogs across the grill, or even being the ones serving. We did a similar thing at a school that I attended one time, and it was only dads. Only dads were allowed behind the barbecue. Only dads were allowed to actually hand the hot dog to the child, so that we made sure that we had our fathers getting engaged. And it also gave a chance for the fathers to realize that they weren't in there alone. I think that quite often our dads are afraid to get involved because they don't think other dads are involved. So this is a great opportunity to bring that part of your community in tight.
and and then the next one is an art fair. It was something that I had looked at, and I kept seeing the schools that would do these banquets and that. So the PTA, we decided to do an art fair. And we went to every classroom and we asked them to design one project to contribute to the PTA meeting that would be auctioned off. I had handprints that formed a big heart. And then I had a class do coasters and everything. And then we auctioned those off. The auction brought in close to $1,200 when we auctioned the things off that night. What we have also done, we ask each classroom to do a simple art project, left up to the teacher what it is. The teachers would make it. First grade made little scarecrows. I had my class. I took their picture, we cut their picture out, we put them in a hot air balloon flying across the St. Louis skyline. But they were the art of the children. And then that evening, before the meeting, we put everything in the gym. It was an art display for parents to come and look at the art throughout the school. Some classes did foil sculptures, and they would walk through. And after the meeting, we told them they could buy their child's art project for $1. Well, when you have 480 kids in the school, you think, oh, we might get $480 with that. Parents, what we found when they were buying their child's art, they'd give us a 5, we'd try to give them the change. They said, oh no, just keep it. So, it really turned into a neat fundraiser. What we did not push that into the PTA. We bought books for the school library with that money. So, it was kind of like an unexpected event that brought in a lot of money, and we were able to purchase library books for the school, both in Spanish and in English. The second one is the trunk or treat. That has been going on strong now for a lot of our Southern Illinois PTAs. And it's gotten to the point they're decorating their cars like McDonald's drive-through. They have these little boards that they put up around the back end of their car. They're handing out candy through the McDonald's drive-through. It's a neat thing, and the parents have really gotten into that. They're decorating their car with lights, they're playing music, and the police will come and have their cars there. It could be like 15 to 20 cars deep. They enter, they follow the trunk or treat. We led them to the gym doors, which brought them inside for the Halloween games. And then at 7 o'clock, you start your PTA meeting. It's getting the parents engaged and involved and coming to that. And then they left, and everybody was happy, bag of candy, full bellies, and they attended the PTA meeting and moved on. And the final one that I could talk about, we did the student talent show. And every kid, we made them audition, and we told them we can only take 5 acts from each grade level. So that we told them they had to audition for it. And it was 2 ways. You could see who was really good, and you could also screen it to make sure the material was appropriate. For example, one time we had 2 4th grade girls who were wonderful dancers in that, but they were dancing to the song Kill Bill. Well, that was something that we could not have played there. So, we talked to the girls, we say, hey, you really did a good dance. Can we find another song that's more appropriate? And, we had all these acts, and the kids are told they only have 2 minutes to do their act. So they have to audition for it. We pick the ones, and then it's a big PTA meeting followed by the talent show that evening. And we make it look like the theater. We've got these billboards with their names and pictures and what their act is. And it's a neat thing too. I've heard of other PTAs allowing everybody, but we just want, we trimmed it down to get the parents in and out, because once you go over an hour and a half, people are tired and they don't want to stay. So that was the several ideas for you, and Carolyn's going to talk about community involvement and the family going to school.
Yes, thank you, Greg. Those were all really great ideas that you could share, and all of them are very easy. And I don't think one of them that he mentioned is something that couldn't be done for free out of your school. And either is this one. And this, for over 125 years now, National PTA has been encouraging families to get more involved in their children's education. And we know that by getting the community involved, we get families involved, and we get families involved, then children succeed. But one of the ways that National PTA promotes this is the Take Your Family to School week. And maybe your school has never thought about this, but this program is designed to provide families with an opportunity to get more involved with their children's education and strengthen their partnership with their teachers and the administrators at the school. The National PTA School of Family, I can't say it now. The PTA Take Your Family to School Week. It's right in front of me. Just read it. Take Your Family to School Week Toolkit, which is a full toolkit that National PTA offers. And again, there's your QR code to get you there. Includes how to promote it, how to decide what you're going to cover in your promotional, what you're going to cover and promote, and then how to celebrate and wrap it up at the end. you would work with your school administrator, and I encourage everyone to think about doing this. It's usually the second week in February is the official Take Your Family to School week, which correlates with the PTA Founders Day. And yes, I did say at the beginning of this, it was 120, PTA has been doing this for 125 years. We celebrated 125 years on February 17th of 2022, so of this year. So we do encourage you to work with your school administrators and get this week put on your calendar. Some things that you can include is some type of, any type of our workshops in the evening. Any of the programs that Greg has talked about could be done during the evening of those weeks, or maybe doing a special luncheons during the week for different family members to come in, and maybe even do classroom reading like Greg talked about during the reading programs. So talk with your school administrator, see how you can add this to your school calendar. Also, we're only a couple weeks away from the 1st of May, which I can't even believe, but the first full week of May, 25 years ago, National PTA established the Teachers Appreciation Week. And I bet you didn't realize that was established by National PTA. It seems like it's been around forever, but it was only about 25 years ago that it was established, and it was established to help us celebrate the T in PTA. So, and that T in PTA does a lot for us. Teachers continue to show up every single day from the time our children get on the school bus to go to school till they get home and they're safely back in our arms. The teachers are there, they're showing up. Well, there has been so many challenges these last couple years. It just really seems like we really need to embrace celebrating our teachers, and there's so many ways of doing it. Our teachers have been so committed to ensuring that our children have the tools and the resources they need to reach their full potential. Times have been tough, but our teachers are tougher. Now it's a time to celebrate their daily sacrifices that they make every day for our children. Many of them for many of them, teaching is not hard work, it's heart work. And that's the slogan for this year. The slogan for this year's toolkit is teaching is the work of heart, because our teachers do the hard work. From doing a Zoom call to text messages, to PTA meetings, to the emails, the parent teachers conferences, and the work that they review and grade at home on their own time, our teachers are doing the hard work. And they are touching the hearts of our children every single day, and they're making a difference in their lives. So each year, National PTA puts out a toolkit, the Teacher Appreciation Toolkit. There's a QR code, there's a link to that toolkit. The toolkit for 2022 will be revealed next week, I believe. I believe it's scheduled to be revealed next Friday. But if you want some ideas to get started with, if you're starting to plan your Teachers Appreciation Week already, the QR code will take you to the Teacher Appreciation Day, and their toolkit for 2021 is still up there. So you can utilize that to show your appreciation for the T's in PTA. So one of the things about PTA is PTA has always stood for high standards of excellence, and we have led the way through establishing family and community engagement. And that family and community engagement has helped to raise the standards of education for our children. So in 2018, National PTA launched the Center for Family Engagement with a new initiative to embed transformative family engagement practices, programs, and policies across the educational system. When it comes to school success, family engagement is just as important as having a great principal and teacher, or a strong curriculum, or a positive school environment. Partnering with families and the communities is a key strategy to ensure that every child receives a high quality education in and out of the classroom. So how are ways that we can help with that high standard of excellence? Well, Reflections, one of my favorite, it is my favorite program that National PTA has, and through a strong school and family community engagement, we are able to bring this to our schools. It provides an opportunity for students to show their own initiative within the arts. And when I talk about in the arts, it's with dance choreography, film production, literature, photography, visual arts, music composition. Research has showed year after year after year that children who participate in the arts or extracurricular activities benefit from higher grades, better from better success in and out of the classroom. They have a higher they're less likely to drop out of high school. And PTA recognized this a long time ago. They just didn't decide this when all the studies came out to say that this was important. 3 years ago, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the National PTA Reflections Program. So this, on your screen, you can see the theme from last year, I Will Change the World by. How appropriate was that? And our children all across the state, all across the country jumped in and shared their interpretation of that theme through their artistic endeavors. On April 26th, our Cultural Arts Director, Ruth Johnston, will be hosting the Reflections webinar to introduce the 2022-2023 theme. I'm not going to steal her thunder. You have to join her then to find out what the theme is for next year. But during this webinar, Ruth will share with you details on how to bring the Reflections program to your school and to your students. So I hope you'll join her then. So in follow-up to the Reflections program, Illinois PTA started a program 9 years ago called Spotlight, and I will tell you, it is my absolute favorite event that we do annually. This program, like I said, it was 9 years ago. We reached out to our communities to develop some way of celebrating the children in Illinois. And the reason I tell you this story is by reaching out to our communities, we found Millikan University, and we just asked them for a place to recognize our students. And when we walked out of that meeting with them, we weren't just recognizing our students. They said, let us partner with you. Let us bring to your celebration art workshops for students in all of these categories that are off that you recognize. Let us use our fine art galleries to showcase the children's work. And like I said, the reason I bring this story to you is not only because I love Spotlight and everything about it, but because by reaching out into your community, there's a lot of support out there that we don't even know. And one of the biggest assets that every PTA has that we tend to overlook all the time is just going out and asking. So we asked for a place just to recognize children, to hold a celebration on a stage. And we ended up with a full afternoon of workshops and celebration and a chance to put a child's piece of art in a gallery. So I encourage you to reach out. And then Greg's going to share a final few. We are already almost at 8 o'clock, so I'm going to ask him to go through these ones kind of quickly, and then we'll try to get to some of your guys' questions.
All right. So, School of Excellence. Next slide. And I'm not going much into detail with this because this is an upcoming workshop which Ophelia and myself will be doing. And we'll talk about School of Excellence. What this is, it's a program for any PTA who wants to implement best practices for family school partnerships. You don't have to see your PTA as excellent to get started. And I'm going to be honest, it's a simple survey the PTA will do. You do the survey, you find out what your crowd thinks, you move from that survey, you implement changes in your school through the year, and in the spring you give that same survey to see if things have changed, and then you submit it to PTA with what you did, and they will possibly name you as a National School of Excellence and give you a banner for it. This program was non-existent in 2015, and I was at a workshop with Carolyn, and she said, no Illinois school has ever won this. Well, in 2016, or no, yeah, 2016 to 2018, it's a 2-year term. We were Kreitner Elementary in Collinsville, along with another school up north, were the first 2 Illinois schools to ever win School of Excellence. And we have built since that time larger and larger each year. So it's a neat program. If you'll pop to the next one, Carolyn, I'll talk about the healthy lifestyles. This one is, where PTA is committed to improving the overall health and well-being of families across the country. And National has developed a healthy lifestyles project, and they divided it into 3 pillars. They did the healthy bodies, which is being physically healthy, following a diet, and doing regular physical activity. And then they had the healthy minds, which was strengthening our mental health, social and emotional well-being. And then they have the healthy earth pillar, which is supporting the planet and local communities to build the best future. I will say Sarah Evers was part of the Healthy Bodies, Twin Echo Elementary in Collinsville. The principal wrote a grant. She got $1,000 grant for it. She decided to talk to the kids about drinking enough water. She made a film showing the kids how much sugar, she took sugar in measuring cups and poured them to show the kids how much sugar was in a soda can, how much sugar was in a lot of candy. And by the time she was done, she had over 5 pounds of sugar in this container. So she offered water bottles to the kid. The PTA bought these water bottles, and you could infuse them with whatever. So she asked the students she passed out a flyer with it saying, design a drink and bring it in, and I'll announce it over during announcements in the morning. And the kids would win a water bottle to take home. Great ideas came in from that. So, take a look at it, tie it into the grants that National offers, and it's a simple project for you. The next slide is about depression. And I'm just going to say that PTA partnered with an organization to develop this. The QR codes there, this is a very important one right now. It's a national problem. Kids, it took its toll, COVID did with us, and kids socializing and everything. So you might want to take a look at that. While I'm on this, I do want to bring up one project. It came out of Sandy Hook when a mother lost her daughter in the shooting. And it's called Know Me, Know My Name. And when I say no, it's KNOW. Know Me, and then ... Know My Name. IEA, Illinois Education Association, has adopted that project. So if you just Google that project, it's a neat one. If you could ever get your PTA to work with your principal, the teachers will take a list of all the students by grade level. They will, and you put it in the lounge for a week and say, hey, put a check by these kids that you know or have a good relationship with. It is amazing when you do that. And then you look at the whole thing and you'll find that there are kids with only one check mark by their name. Those are the kids that the PTA and the school could focus on bringing them up, raising, making them happier. Our principal did it, and we had 25 kids that had 3 marks or less. And so he would take them in groups of 5 and have a special breakfast, lunch with them in his office. He decorated a table for them with a tablecloth. He had the candles on there, the fake ones, and they just had lunch there. It didn't cost a thing. He didn't buy the food. He just let them go get their cafeteria tray, and he got the cafeteria tray, and they just all ate in the room together. It's a neat project because it really opens up the teacher's eyes to like, oh, this is that kid nobody knows. So know me, know my name. It plays into the depression thing. And that is it, Carolyn. We'll take the questions.
Greg, could you type in the chat the name of that just in case anyone didn't catch it exactly?
I sure will.
That would be helpful. During this presentation, we presented a lot of information, and I know that. So we will be sending out this slide deck to everybody following later tonight or sometime tomorrow. This QR code that you have right now on this screen will take you to the leadership series online, where you can go and sign up for any of those other classes that we mentioned. The class, the workshop that is being held on School of Excellence, I believe, is on April 21st. I don't think Greg mentioned that date, but that I believe it is April 21st. So we will open up the microphones, and if anyone has a question, first I'd like to thank everybody for coming. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.